Did this man undermine the biggest, most iconic band in the history of rock and roll with his plunky, out-of-tune disgrace of a bass line that amounted to nothing less than musical sabotage, leading to the downfall of the Beatles entirely? It's possible, but why do people hate this particular bass line? Does it really deserve all the hate that it gets? And most importantly, can we fix what John Lennon played and make it better? Oh my god, I've just suggested that I'm gonna fix something that John Lennon made. But to see if we even can fix this bass line, we need to know why people think it's so bad in the first place. Now, die-hard Beatles fans already know the song in question is
The long and winding road that leads.
John was playing bass on this one since Paul McCartney, who'd normally be playing bass, was on piano and singing. So what's so bad about this bass line? Well, Phil Spector, the producer they brought in for this album, he said this.
John was playing wrong notes on it, on the bass. John couldn't play bass and didn't know the chord changes. It was a farce.
Famed music critic Ian MacDonald wrote, it features some atrocious bass playing by Lennon, many comical mistakes, which amounts to sabotage when presented as finished work. And what's worse, they're kind of right. You can hear all these things in just the first 8 bars of the song. Editing Luke here. Turns out if I use the actual recording from this song, it gets blocked by YouTube. So I did my best to make my own version of the song and emulate John's bass line as best as I could, warts and all, but definitely listen to the Beatles version as well.
The long and winding road that leads to your door will never disappear. I've seen that road before.
Issue number 1, there are some straight up wrong notes in here, just like Phil Spector Gadget was talking about. In fact, right at the very start of this line, we have an E flat 7 chord and we have that D flat in a melody. We have that to her door. Now, the E flat 7 there, what does John play over that? He plays a D natural. Not the best sound in the world. Now, a lot of kind of official transcriptions have this written as a D flat, which is probably what it should have been, but if you isolate it, if you really look at it, it's a D natural and it's out of tune. Not a great combo. There's a few more places where he also tries to slide into certain notes, but he misses. It's just not executed very well. Honestly, it seems like he often knows what sound he wants. He's either just lazy or he misses. But the issues go way beyond just a few wrong or out of tune notes. Issue number 2 is that there are also a few places where notes are very, kind of out of time. The worst one is towards the end, and it's super obvious without the orchestra.
Winding road.
That second A flat there is just super late. And between that and the other places where the song's notes are kind of out of time, it just makes everything feel kind of messy, unpolished. Issue number 3 is all about the lengths of the notes. John makes some very strange choices here, like in that first 8 bars, playing a really short C at the start of that bar, and just kind of like letting it hang, playing it super short. Like this, it kind of makes everything feel super empty, which doesn't feel or sound like what the song wants, at least to me. In fact, if anything, you could probably be more active in that bar. The other place where note lengths become a bit strange is basically any time John plays roots on beats 1 and 3. There's virtually no consistency with how long he plays them. Sometimes they're worth a whole note, 1, off. Sometimes it's like a dotted whole note, 1, 2, off. Sometimes it's an eighth note, 1, off. So every once in a while, it's just kind of messy and unclear about how long the notes are actually supposed to be. The final thing that people point to is the flat-out bizarre choices that Lennon makes during this song. Now, more than once, when he comes to land on a C for a bar, he'll do this. Like go all the way up. Why, dude? What's the point of that? It's not going anywhere, it doesn't serve anything. It kind of just sounds like he's either bored or mucking around, or maybe it's some kind of joke that I'm just not Beatlesy enough to understand. Also, in that little ascending line, he kind of slides up into every note, which doesn't not work, but it's still a kind of strange choice. It's this grand ballad, and there's these super short notes kind of being slid into from below. It just feels strange. Again, almost like John is maybe a little bit bored. But if we take these 4 issues and make some very, very slight tweaks, we can salvage this bass line and, dare I say, improve it. Now, quick disclaimer, I am in no way claiming to be a better musician than John Lennon, but we can make something that was maybe a little bit messy a little bit nicer. So let's fix this thing. The first thing that we can very easily fix is the wrong notes. So that D that we mentioned before, just turn that into a D flat. Easy. Super, super simple. All those other notes that are wrong, we can just change them to the ones that we probably know they should be. Next, those notes that are out of time, we simply do our best to play them in time. Super, super simple. Next, those note lengths, let's clean them up a little bit. Now, there's kind of 2 ways we could go with this. We can keep them relatively short and consistent quarter notes on beat 1 and 3. So 1, off, 3, off. Kind of like that. But even though this is a legit choice, I'm actually not going to do this for this song. I'm going to keep all the notes long, full half notes to give everything the support it needs. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Next is a trickier one, the kind of strange choices that John made. Let's clean just a few of those up. Now, all those places where there's that big slide to nowhere on the C, I'm taking those out. It seems like he wants to put something in there, so let's just replace it with something a bit more Beatlesy, right? For example, you could take this Paul McCartney bass line idea from 1965's The Word. So let's take that idea, 1, 3, 5, 8 of the chord, and just paste it into that C minor bar, just to give it a bit of motion. Just like that. Same idea, just worked around that C minor chord. Now this line here, I actually quite like that idea as its own thing. Let's actually keep it in, but let's just change the execution a little bit. Instead of playing them as super short notes, let's keep them all long, and instead of sliding into them, which kind of feels weird in a song like this, let's play them as long notes. And actually, let's slide down from that last note, pardon me, to land on that A flat there. So, yeah, keeps the essence of the line, but now it's just a little bit more in touch with the, the feel of the song. So let's see what it might sound like with all these changes.
The long and winding road that leads to your door will never disappear. I've seen that road before. It always leads me here. Lead me to your door.
I won't go through the entire song here, but the tabs for the Lennon bass line plus my changes and the bassist backing track, they're all available in the description. Now, we're not changing much here, but those small changes make a huge, huge difference to the song. So what's the verdict? Did John Lennon intentionally sabotage this song? Honestly, I don't think so. If you listen to the naked version of this song, which was recorded 5 days after the original take that was released, the bass performance is way better, and I'm not even really sure why that take wasn't used in the first place. It seems way cleaner, at least in terms of the bass. Ideally though, if you are making up bass lines from scratch though, you want to do it the right way, and if that's what you want to do, make sure you check out this playlist that will show you exactly how to start with absolutely nothing, and by the end, have a bass line that is guaranteed to work and sound great, so you can avoid sabotaging your own band.